We have arrived at the Hungaroring circuit in Budapest for the running of the Hungarian Grand Prix, the first race back after a few weeks away. Coming into this week, the first 5 drivers for the 2021 season have been announced. The first team news of the season concerns Jake Galloway, as it has been announced that the Chinese Grand Prix winner will be leaving Renault at the end of the season and will be joining the Scarlet Red Ferrari in 2021. Jake has had an amazing rookie season despite the fact that he wasn't originally meant to be in the top class. He currently lies 6th in the Drivers' Championship, 11 points behind Red Bull's Franco Gamba, and his current team Renault lie 4th in the Constructors, 47 points behind 3rd place Racing Point. Despite this only being his rookie season, Jake has already acquired 2 podiums to his name, with one of them being the most memorable when he unexpectedly took his first ever win after an amazing Chinese Grand Prix. Jay will be over the moon to be a part of the prancing horse next season, and he'll be hoping to turn the team's misfortunes around in the fantasy era after what has been a tricky 2020 for the Italian manufacturer. As a result of this news, it means that at least one current Ferrari driver will be leaving the team at the end of the season, with the rumours pointing towards Laura Chung leaving the team, with her being rumoured for a potential move to Ferrari's Italian rivals Lamborghini. This news also raises the question on who will replace Jake at Renault, with the team's current test driver Jesus Perinen and current DTM Championship leader Romain Grosjean being the leading contenders to replace Jake, given it's looking highly likely that Evan Byrne will be retained. It will be fascinating to see who wins the battle between Romain and Jesus. The second team news concerns Williams, as they have announced that 6-time race winner Felix Sontag will remain with the Oxfordshire-based team for another season. Felix has had a brilliant 2020 season, with this season's Williams being an improvement compared to last season. He currently lies 17th in the Drivers' Championship, being the only Williams driver so far to score points, and his team Williams lie 9th in the Constructors, with Manor and Haas still yet to score. Felix's highest moment this season came at Baku, where he was able to make amends after what happened last season at the same track and take a brilliant 6th position, performing a brilliant defensive masterclass on Joseph Willow. Felix will be happy and surprised that he is being announced this soon, and he'll be looking to continue the team's progression and hope to be higher in 2021. His teammate is still yet to be announced, however it's looking likely that Jamie Griffiths will be retained for another season, but we will wait and see. The penultimate team news of the day concerns McLaren, as they have announced that 2017 DTM runner-up Kirishima De Rosa will remain with the Woking-based team for 2021. Kira has had a brilliant 2020 season despite the team's shaky start to the season. He currently lies 8th in the Drivers' Championship, having just overtook Evan Byrne in the last race, and his team McLaren lie 5th in the Constructors, 14 points ahead of Ferrari. Kera's best moment of the season came in France, where he took his 2nd career podium after an amazing drive and a brilliant strategic decision from McLaren. He'll be looking to continue his impressive form into 2021, and he'll be hoping the team will be fighting at the front during the fantasy era. There will be one change with Kera in 2021, and that is that he'll be running under the Italian nationality as opposed to the Polish nationality from next season. The only question remaining at McLaren is who will be his teammate, with Joseph Willow still being a contender to remain with the team for another season. However, given his shaky season so far, he could be dropped in favour of either current GP2 Championship contender Hoang Minh Nguyen or current McLaren test driver Hento Sinanone, but only time will tell. The final team news of the day concerns Mercedes, as to the surprise of literally no one, they have announced that they will be retaining their lineup of Franco Lopez and Amar Kar for another season. Franco has had another amazing season, with him currently having a 14-race podium streak going into this week. He currently leads the Drivers' Championship by 55 points ahead of his teammate Amar Kar, and his team Mercedes lead the Constructors' Championship by a massive 170 points ahead of Red Bull. Despite not having the most wins this season, Franco's consistency has been the key to him having a comfortable lead in the championship. He'll be hoping to continue this momentum for the remainder of the season and hope to continue it into next season as well. Meanwhile, his teammate Amar Kar has had a much better season compared to 2019, with him looking to have the edge on his teammate on race day. As mentioned earlier, he currently lies 2nd in the Drivers' Championship, with his team Mercedes dominating the Constructors. Amar has had more wins than Franco this season, however his bad luck this season has let him down, with him crashing out of races through no fault of his own, which in turn has led to him having a 55-point mountain to climb in order to fight with Lopez this season. Amar will be happy to remain with the team for another season, and he'll be hoping to have another good season in 2021, with question marks still surrounding the team as to whether they will still be competing for the title in 2021, given it will mark the first season of the fantasy era. It will be fascinating to see what the pecking order will look like next season. The final thing we need to talk about is the provisional calendar, and also some things regarding one race this season. For those of you who aren't aware, this past Thursday it was announced by GP4 that the Russian Grand Prix would not go ahead for this season and next season at the very least, with replacement venues being evaluated by URI. GP4 took the decision in response to the ongoing situation between Russia and Ukraine, as we did not feel it was right to have a race in Russia. We are not going to talk about this subject too much out of respect to those who have been affected by this. We at GP4 send our thoughts and prayers to everyone in Ukraine, and if anyone in Ukraine is watching this, we hope that you are staying safe. And that is it for this week's edition of the GP4 OC News. The next team news will break at the Belgian Grand Prix next week, so until next Tuesday's practice session, take care. It has been a while, hasn't it? But after a few weeks away, we are back. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the practice session here for the Hungarian Grand Prix here at the Hungaroring in Budapest. I am JW97, and I am joined today by my arch nemesis Ra. How are you doing?
Hello, everyone.
Hello,
I am
indeed.
good.
Nice to see you, indeed. And you can see on your screen, we've got a very rainy day for practice. Now, of course, last time out, in fact, we'll talk about that in a little bit. First of all, apologies if there was any lag during that at all. It turns out it was due to the two videos that we've been trying to upload, the premieres for Formula E and BTCC. It turns out it's taking a lot of Yuri's internet up, so we've had to pause those uploads for a little bit until the streams are finished. So, as you can see, everything's running smoothly now. So just letting everybody know on Discord that everything is stopped. So as you can see, we've got a rainy practice session. Whether that's an omen for the race, I don't know. I mean, obviously, last time we were about, we've had 11 out of 11 dry races. So whether we'll finally get one here in Hungary is another case. But I think without further ado, let's get to the practice session then. So as far as I'm aware... Okay. Right, so obviously there's no test drivers in the car for today unless somebody requested it. Don't. Okay, so we do have one requester. One, Joseph Frederick Suto in the Williams. They should have the original livery back now. Well, the livery they ran all season. Yep, they do. Because, of course, you may remember last time out at Silverstone, they run the original Rocket livery on the car. Well, they've reverted back, of course. And as mentioned, I don't know if anybody caught what Yuri just said there, but Jose Frederic Souto is in the car for today in place of Felix Sontag in his practice session for Williams. So you'll be seeing the Slovakian driver out on the track. And in fact, his teammate for today, Jamie Griffiths, is going to be the first on the racetrack. Now, of course, for anybody who's only just joined the stream, of course, we did have the first team news of the season. Now, there may have been a bit of lag for some people. There wasn't lag on my end, but there was lag for others. And so we do apologise for that. Obviously we will upload that video later on tonight so that you guys can see what the news is were if you missed it. But we'll mention it anyway in this practice session. Of course, we have 5 drivers being announced for the first team news of the season. One of those being Jake Galloway, of course, who will be leaving Renault at the end of the season to join Ferrari. Your thoughts on that, Ra?
Yeah, pretty well unexpected that it was early, but then again, he is so high up in the championship compared to the current Ferrari drivers and how well he's doing this season in his rookie season, which is amazing to see. And yeah, he does deserve this drive at Ferrari. Hopefully he can have a strong season.
Indeed so, as we ride on board with Miklos Gal, who's trying to find a way through on one of the racing points. I think that's George Roach he's trying to get by there. Now, of course, Yuri did mention that he has apparently fixed turn 3, only for the dry weather, of course. If it's wet, then it might be a little bit of an issue, but he apparently may have fixed the little issue that we've had in the past with turn 3. So hopefully we don't see any weird collisions at that corner when it comes to the race tomorrow. But that'll be good enough. But yes, as we look at the 2 Mercedes who are trying to slipstream each other. Now, of course, speaking of Mercedes, of course, I think it's to the surprise of literally no one that both Lopez and Carr will remain with the team for yet another season. They'll be staying on for 2021. Will the team still be competitive next season in the Fantasy? It's another question. But I guess, like everyone, Ra, you're not really surprised that the pair of them have been retained?
Yeah, not surprised. I mean, they're pretty much running away with the championship. And yeah, there's no surprise for them to be retained.
Okay, so obviously the other 2 news that we've got as well is that, of course, Felix Sontag is remaining at Williams and Kirishima De Rosa is remaining at McLaren. Felix, of course, having quite a good season in 2020, it's fair to say, but I bet he like, probably for a lot of people, probably a bit surprised that he's being announced this soon.
Yeah, a bit surprised. I mean, I thought he would be announced at the next week, but yeah, he should be glad that he's announced right now because he's having an amazing season, and I think people pretty much underestimate him with his results.
Indeed so. Another guy who's also being retained for next season that the current team has mentioned is Kirishima De Rosa. I don't think that's much of a surprise. Obviously, the question remaining on who his teammate would be, but of course, one change that I think we need to note about is the fact that Kira will be switching nationalities next season from Polish to Italian. So pretty much that will mean that there will be at least one more Italian on the grid, or maybe not. It depends if any of the current Italians on the grid get kicked out of their current drives. Those Italians, of course, being Franco Gamba and Roberto Gamba, unless I've missed another Italian. Oh wait, Andrea Federi. But we'll wait and see.
The Gamba Mafia.
Yeah, the Gamba Mafia, the entirety of the Gamba Mafia. We've got some lap times on the board. It's currently a Mercedes 1-2. Lopez at the top with a 1:33.955. He's 5 tenths clear of Armar cars. There's a bit of a traffic jam forming behind Evan Byrne at the moment. Q-Pop, meanwhile, goes up into 2nd place. And as he makes his way around the final corner, now making his way down the pit straight, Gamba using a bit of slipstream from the Mano there. It's not going to be the best first time for Gamba. He goes into 9th position as Motrin now goes to the top of the timing sheets by 600 of a second. And we will do in a bit. So that's a big time there for Miklos Gal. Of course, let's not forget as well, there is a soft and hard normal wet tyres, what everybody's on. Everybody's on the normal wet tyres. I think maybe Gal may be on the softer compound of the normal wet tyres because he's 2.4 seconds clear of his fellow compatriot Roland Motrin. Of course, both this is Miklos and Roland's home Grand Prix, of course, so both of them looking to put on a show. And so maybe that's why Gal finds himself over 2 seconds quicker than Motrin at this point in time. But all 22 cars have done a lap there. Now, obviously, I do want to point this out because Yuri's just pointing this out to us on the Discord chat. Obviously, as you may have seen on Twitter yesterday, or even on Discord if you're on there, there is a big announcement coming for GP4 on the 13th of March. Now, I know what this announcement is because, of course, I'm obviously involved in the nitty-gritty with the OC. So I'm not going to give out any speculation, but because Ra isn't part of it, I guess he could try and speculate on what this announcement could be. Any clues on what it might be, Ra?
No clue. Maybe something to do with the schedules.
Maybe. Anybody else in the stream chat? Any guesses on what you might think this big announcement that's coming on the 13th of March might be? Hello to everybody who's just in the chat. As Laura Chung just, as we just saw a little bit earlier there, just got by on Jamie Griffiths. We're on board with Jamie Griffiths as of right now. And but yeah, it is a very, very big announcement. I can tell you that for a fact. It is a very big announcement in regards to the entirety of the OC, of course. So very, very big indeed. And trust me, guys, I think you will like the change that's coming on the 13th of March, the big announcement that's coming. As meantime, Mika Oskar just makes his way through there on the other Ferrari. That would be Roberto Gamba, of course, because we saw a little bit earlier on that Chung got by Griffiths, as Motrin has a little bit of an aquaplane moment there going into turn 2. Just locking the front wheels there. As meantime, Jose Frederic Suto gets up into 16th position, as Martinez goes up into 20th. As Motrin finds himself 9 tenths down on Gal in the first sector, could be contributed to the mistake he made. Whilst we were talking there, Lopez and Franco Gamba were able to improve to go up into 2nd and 3rd respectively. As we look now at Evan Bird, who may remember 2 seasons ago qualified on the front row for Renault. Maybe he could try and do something similar this season. Who knows, really? But here comes Evan Bird now. They're making his way down the pit straight as he goes into 9th position. Well, we do know now, at least, of course, that Renault will be having at least one driver change in 2021 because of the fact that Jake Galloway is moving over to Ferrari next season. And obviously the rumours are pointing towards Laura Chung being the driver that Jake Galloway is going to replace, given the rumours surrounding her potentially going to the brand new Lamborghini team. But whether that will happen or not is, of course, another question. And but I think the biggest question in your mind, Ra, is because, of course, Jake Galloway is moving over to Ferrari. Who do you think will replace him at Renault, in your opinion?
If I have to comment, I have to say Jesus Perinen.
You're going to go with the test driver, Jesus Perinen, who, let's not forget as well, starts on the front row a little bit later on today in GP2.
I mean, I am a bit biased because he is my teammate.
Yeah, of course, it seems like at the moment, judging from the news video, that he and Roman Quarg seem to be the main contenders for the second Renault seat, because I think it's fair to say that it's probably highly likely that Byrne's probably going to get retained unless his performances start to drop off a cliff. But yeah, I think it's pretty safe to assume that, but you never know. As we've seen many times in the news videos over the seasons, things can change very, very quickly. You may remember one season when Byrne was rumoured to a potential move to McLaren. That didn't go according to plan. As you may remember, because it ended up being Kirishima DeRosa who ended up partnering alongside Roberto Gamba for that season. So, yeah, it's
lucky escape, I would say.
I'd say so, yeah, because in 2018, McLaren didn't have the best of seasons, it's fair to say. They ended up finishing, if I'm not mistaken, 9th in the Constructors' Championship, whereas Renault had a very good 2018 season, finishing, I think it was 5th in the Constructors, if I'm not mistaken. So they had a pretty good season, especially Evan Byrne. I'm sorry if you can hear. Yeah, they haven't. I know we've been gone a while, but some things don't change. The dog's barking in the background. So, or dog commentary, as Yuri like to refer to it sometimes. But, yeah, that's that really. As we just saw a little bit earlier on, Kirby struggling to get by there. I think, judging from the stream, looking at the stream, it seems like it's a bit behind at the moment, judging from all the lag that we had earlier. So that should be fixed by the time we get to qualifying, because it seems to be a normal thing with OBS. Because I know from personal experience, whenever you have frame drops, sometimes the stream tends to be a little bit further behind than what it's supposed to be. But that shouldn't be an issue when it comes to qualifying, I can assure you that. So, anyways, Byrne comes down the straight as Lopez is trying to find a way through. In fact, oddly enough, Lopez was the one who shared the front row of him back in 2018. A lot of people say that Lopez likes to ruin the fun when it comes to qualifying. He did it in 2018 with Evan Byrne, and he did the same this season, in fact, with Roland Motrin, it's fair to say, Ra.
Yeah. He is a type of guy that can ruin the fun.
And hello, dog commentators, as you put in the stream chat there. As Lopez trying to find a way through and Evan Byrne down the pit straight as he was 2.1 seconds off of Gal as a result of the hold up there from Evan Byrne. Lopez making his way down through the first corner there as the wet conditions continue to stay as it is. I think it should be still normal wets for the entirety of the session. And as mentioned earlier, of course, there is a soft and hard compound of normal wet. So bear that one in mind in case you see the gaps a little bit wrong. And now coming down out of the corner now, there we go. And just give me a moment, Ra, you can take over commentary for the moment as Lopez is up in the first sector.
Yep, Lopez up on the first sector. Meanwhile, on board Amelia Wilson, who's holding up the racing point. She doesn't improve, and she is going to come into the pits as the racing point. I believe it's George Rugg who has overtaken her, as do the Kirby improves, but he stays in 6th place, surprisingly enough. But yeah, there is a variation between soft version of the normal wets and the hard normal wets as well. So Lopez, let's see what he does in the middle sector. He's lost time, unfortunately. He's 4 tenths down on his personal best. He just lost a lot of time in the middle sector, but don't think it's nothing to do with a mistake from him. As we are looking at Joseph Frederick Suter, or as one familiar commentator would like to call him, Fusumi. Yeah, and he is coming into the pits on this stint, and he is running in 16th. I mean, it's a decent session for him. He's ahead of his teammate Jamie Griffiths, who's in 17th. So he could take it. It's pretty good for him. Now looking at Franco Lopez, who is in 2nd. And as Franco Gamba improves, he stays in 3rd. Meanwhile, Roland Motchen getting held up by the house of Daniel Fraser. He lost time, he didn't improve, as he's going to overtake Daniel Fraser.
And I'm back. As Raj just said there, Motchen just overtook his Roach, meanwhile, improves to go up to 8th position, just have to sort something out there. But anyway, we have just under 17 and 3/4 minutes to go. So we look back at Lopez, who's up on his personal best again in the middle sector. First sector, I should say. He's approaching the middle sector right now. Let's see if he can still keep it up, as he's currently 6 tenths off of Gal at this point. He seemed to have lost time from the last time I checked. In fact, he's continuing to lose time. I did remember, of course, during the as Willows, meanwhile, gets up into 4th position in the McLaren. I think I did remember in the GP2 qualifying yesterday there were some weird corners where people were losing time. Wonder if that's a thing here for the top class in the wet conditions. I'm not sure. Maybe even the dry conditions. Okay. Just checking, because it seemed to be a thing in GP2 yesterday. As Hatfield, we just saw a little bit earlier, they just got by on Willows, as Lopez doesn't improve, as he continued to tumble his time down in the last 2 sectors there. So it seemed like Gal didn't have the best first sector compared to everyone else, as Chung, meanwhile, gets up to 6th position. Is this going to be her last season at Ferrari? You would think that looking at the signs, it probably will. But we'll have to wait and see, of course, whoever ends up partnering alongside Jake Galloway next season. And here comes Miklos Gau, who's just making his way around the final corner, as he will now come onto the pit straight now then, as he will try and find a way through on the Haas there. As again, Lopez up on Gal in the first sector, but only by 0.005 of a second, and he's 1/10 up on his personal best. But it's in the 2nd and 3rd sectors where we're seeing drivers starting to lose the time a little bit, as Roke improves to go up into 9th and set at exactly the same time, in fact, as the guy who will be retiring, of course, at the end of the season, Dudu Kirby. And I said that really wrong there by twisting my tongue. Now, there is one thing I do want to bring up, and we won't touch on it too much, as we said in the news video, but of course, for anybody who isn't aware, of course, the Russian Grand Prix has been removed from the calendar for reasons that I'm pretty sure you would have seen in the news already. We're not going to go too much into it out of respect to all the victims in Ukraine right now, as Chatfield gets up into 2nd. Our thoughts and prayers are, of course, with everybody in Ukraine, and a replacement is currently being evaluated as we speak. What that replacement will be, I don't know. Probably not the right time to speculate, but I just thought I'd let you know. And yeah, like I said, won't touch too much onto it because it is a very sensitive topic, it's fair to say, especially to the victims as well. Back to try and bring some positivity as there's a big battle going on up in towards turn 4 there, involving 3 cars. Chatfield, Wilson, and I think it was Willows, if I'm not mistaken, Ra.
Yeah, it was Willows. Chapman tried to go on the inside of Wilson. Didn't work. He had to back out, and Willows sneaked through.
Indeed so, as we now look back at this battle, in fact, with Chatfield bringing up the rear, and it looks like they're going to bring the Renault of Jake Galloway along very soon. Through the chicane we go, as they will now make their way towards the S's now then. And it seems that Wilson is doing a very good job in having her own train service at this point. As Lopez is up on the first sector, but it's not going to matter because he's coming into the pits this lap. So a little bit pointless there, it's fair to say.
Yeah, indeed. Martinez on one of the Williams. I think that's Suto. Oh, there's contact between Wilson and Willows.
And it doesn't really help as well that Willows, of course, let's not forget, has a 5-place grid penalty for this race for the crash that he caused with Galloway at Silverstone.
Yeah.
Thought I would remind people of that. And yeah, I think he was just a little bit too clumsy there, was Willows.
Yeah, indeed.
And well, it seems like he could be in a man of a bit of pressure right now, given given that he could be chopped at McLaren, given his performances. I'll try and not say the word. Have been up and down. It's fair to say. So as Galloway now then makes his way down the pit straight, as he'll make his way down towards the first corner to try and find a way through on Amelia Wilson, and he gets that done pretty easily. Gets later on the brakes through into there, even in the wet conditions. As on the right hand side there, we saw that somebody was just coming out of the pits. As now Galloway will make his way down towards turn 2. As we now look at Chris Chatfield, as his teammate David Kupak is up into 5th position. Will these two even still be teammates next season, of course, because of the whole Miklos Gal rumour about him potentially moving over to AlphaTauri next season? In fact, Chatfield is up on Gal in the first sector. But of course, as mentioned earlier, it seems like these next 2 sectors is where they seem to lose the time. We'll have to wait and see on that, as Garber is now stuck behind one of the Manners. But yeah, could Chatfield and Kupak be teammates still next season, or do you believe that Gal may end up at AlphaTauri?
There is a possibility on Chapman and Kupak being teammates, but at this point in time, you never know. I think that it is more likely that one of them will be booted out.
Which one, though? I don't think you'll want to comment, do you, Ra?
Yeah, no comment on that one.
Okay, fair enough. As speaking of an AlphaTauri, Chatfield there, who went down, in fact, on his personal best in the middle sector. I think that may have something to do with Jose Frederic Suto in front of him, but I'm not 100% sure there, as Miklos Gal makes his way up the hill now then, as he's now up on his personal best in the first sector, of course, so he's going to try and see if he can try and get a better lap time on the board, as Martinez improves to go into 17th, but Roberto Gamba does not, because of the fact that the Italian got out of his. Meantime, Jake Galloway gets up into 7th place behind the guy who's got a 5-place grid penalty for causing an accident with him at Silverstone, Joseph Willows, as Wilson improves but remains in last position. As now we look at Garbu, who's trying to find a way through on Martinez into turn 3. Very close for comfort there. And Garber again still getting held up by Martinez, but can he get him into turn number 3, into turn number 4 perhaps? So I think the curve at the exit after turn 1, I think, is classed as a corner, as Gal loses time in the middle sector. So I think there is somewhere around the track where people are starting to lose time around here, but I'm not 100% sure really, as Gal now then makes his way up towards the final turn. De Rosa improves to go up into 7th, so gets behind his teammate Joseph Willows. And of course, as mentioned earlier, Kiro will be remaining at McLaren next season, but with a different nationality, of course. So just to bear that one in mind before people say I've made a mistake on the Wikipedia. I have not. So as Gal makes his way coming out of turn 1 then, as he wasn't able to improve. In fact, he's coming into the pits this lap. So it seemed like just a quick out lap then for Miklos Gal. As another train is now starting to form behind another Manor, this time involving Roberto Gamba, and I think that's Chris Chatfield, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
As Gal 5 tenths up on his personal best, but he's going into the pits this lap, so it's on the matter. He must have set a really incredible sector 2 and sector 3 then to get under that 1 minute 31.394 mark. As Roberto Gamba, will he be able to get by on the Manor this time, by into turn 1? The answer to that is he's going on the inside. I think he will. And yes, he does this time by. But Chatfield not able to follow through this time by. But could he follow through potentially, perhaps into turn 3? He's going to have a go. And he has done. So very clever move there from Chris Chatfield. As they make their way down toward... Fix does work, it seems, then, for the wet conditions. As Yuri just screamed in our ear about that one. So... yeah, the fix for turn 3 appears to work in the wet conditions as Roland Motrin gets up into 7th place. Probably got a little bit of a helping hand from the slipstream from Gabriel Gomez as he was just getting by there. Motrin makes his way down towards turn 1 as we have just over 10 minutes to go in this practice session before we get into the qualifying here at the Hungaroring. As Chatfield will be coming back into the pits this lap as he was struggling to get by on Roberto Gamba in front. And I'm not sure if Roberto's coming back into the pits this lap or not, but we'll wait and see. Anyway, as Gamba now then, with Franco Gamba is behind his good friend Andre Videri right now. Coming around the final turn we go, and he's up on his personal best, but I don't know if Videri is going to affect him on that. Across the line then goes Franco Gamba, and he does improve, in fact, to go up into 3rd. So technically, you could say it's a 1-2-3 for Red Bull, given that Chatfield in the AlphaTauri is up into 2nd place at this point in time. So maybe a little bit of help in searching from Videri, but he could have probably got a little bit more if it wasn't for Videri in front. As Byrne, meanwhile, 3 tenths up on Gal in the 1st sector. So I wonder if he had a very, very weak 1st sector, but pulled it all back in the last 2. We'll have to wait and see what Byrne's doing on this lap as he comes around the right-left chicane now then. Byrne currently, where is he at the moment? Down in 17th position, so not ideal for the Irishman at this point. He just comes around these... you were, in fact, Kira. You're staying at McLaren. So congratulations, buddy. You're going to be staying at the Woking Base team for another season. But on top of that, Sontag's remaining at Williams. Lopez and Carr remaining at Mercedes. And Jake Galloway is moving to Ferrari. So, but yeah, you have been confirmed at McLaren, Kira. Congratulations. So, as meantime, Lopez has ruined the 1-2-3 that Red Bull had as he's got up into 2nd place now. 2 tenths off of Gal. Let's see what Byrne is actually doing right now because he's still up on his personal best. Evan Byrne now then comes down the pit straight and across the line he will go and he goes up into 10th position. So he gets himself into the top 10. So yeah, it must have been a very weak 1st sector for Miklos Gal that time by. But we are still seeing some improvements out there on the track. I don't think the conditions are improving. I think they're still remaining the same. And I just said, Kero, it was you. Oh, as meantime, Franco Gamba goes to the top of the timing sheets now by 800ths of a second. So after a while of Gal being at the top, Franco Gamba now goes to the top with a 1:31.307. So it is now a Red Bull 1-2 in this session. And so I hope you stay at McLaren, is Kero. I hope so, Kero, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Kirby, meanwhile, improves to go up into P11, gets himself above Roberto Gamba at this point in time. As Fraser now then makes his way through the very quick left-hander. And then going around the long swooping right-hander, they will soon go. As Fraser currently up in his personal best at the 1st sector. As Carr, meanwhile, gets up into 6th place in the Mercedes, so he's finding a little bit more time in the Silver Arrow, or I should say, it's not really silver, is it? It's a fully black and turquoise car. Not really any signs of silver apart from the stickers. But anyways, George Roach, meanwhile, gets up into 15th position as Joseph Willows tries to get by on his teammate into turn 1, Roland Motrin. So now we look at Fraser now then. He's just going around the right-hander as Rollos has been able to finally get the move done on Motrin. So he's through into that position. To make the way through the left and right handers. Byrne, meanwhile, gets up into 9th, so some more improvements coming the way. Evan Byrne getting up into 9th position. Still now coming around the 1st corner, making his way down towards the left-hander. But in the meantime, Frankie Gamba improves a little bit more. He breaks into the 1:30s, or 1:30.877. Fraser, meanwhile, improved to go up into 18th position, so Frankie Gamba continuing to increase the gap at the front of the field at the moment, as we now look at Jake Galloway, the Ferrari-bound driver for 2021, comes around the final corner as Suto goes up into 14th in the Williams, as now Fraser is holding up a traffic jam of his own. He's holding up the likes of David Kupok, one of the Red Bulls, not sure which Red Bull it is, and one of the Ferraris, as Kupok tries to get by on Fraser there, but didn't quite work out there. There was nearly contact there, but not quite enough for anybody to slide or do a spin that time by. as they will now come up towards the chicane. Fraser up on his personal best, but I wouldn't be surprised if he starts to tumble now because he's had to defend a little bit from David Kupok. Under 6 minutes to go in this practice session, and then of course we'll be getting into qualifying a little bit later on as Joseph Willows improves to go up into P6. So up into 6th place then goes Joseph Willows. Through the right-hander then goes Daniel Fraser, as he will now make his way down towards the right-hander. As now through the right-hander he will go, making his way towards the final 2 turns on the racetrack. The second to last corner. Now into the final corner will go Daniel Fraser. As the Red Bull, in fact, is coming into the pit, so that was Franco Gamba. Fraser's still up on his personal best despite all the kerfuffle that's happening behind him. As Fraser crosses the line, no improvement for him, as Kupok didn't improve either because he got held up. Is Kupok going to get by on Fraser into turn 1 this time by? And the answer to that is yes. So David Kupok getting by into turn 1 there, pretty simple. As they now come out of the first corner. Now making their way down towards the improved turn 3 now, thanks to Yuri's fixing of the track. And being able to get a fix for that corner now. So no issues there as we look at Laura Chung, who was the Ferrari who was involved in the traffic. Chung up on her personal best, but not up on Miklos Gal. 2 tenths up on her personal best at this point, as Fraser is going back into the pits this lap. So I wonder if this will be him done for the day, given that we've got, just over 4 minutes left in the session. So this is Willows, meanwhile, gets up into 3rd. So the McLaren driver gets up into P3 right now. Of course, a reminder as well for anybody who's just joined, Joseph Willows, of course, does have a 5-place grid penalty that he has to serve for this race. So wherever he ends up in qualifying today, he will drop 5 places back as Roke and De Rosa are able to improve. Roke goes up into 11th, De Rosa into 8th position. So some improvements there. Fraser coming back into the pits this lap. I'm not sure if he's compromising Chung at this point. Through the final 2 turns we will go, as Fraser will go into the box, which he does, as Chung now then comes into the final corner. And she was down on her personal best, as you can see on the def panel at the top. So I don't think she's going to be able to recover that time, as Kupok gets up into 7th, so an improvement there from the Alpha Tauri driver, as Franco Gama gets back out onto the track to do the last couple of laps of the session. Chung now then coming around the first corner, as she will now make her way towards turn number 3 on the track, taking the car in. She should have a clear track in front this time by, unless the Red Bull of Gal interferes. Down the hill we go now then, heading up towards the quick left-hander. Let's see what her first sector is like. And she is up on her personal best by 4 tenths this time by. Let's see if she can keep it up for the remaining 2, as she's holding up Miklos Gal at the moment. Griffiths doesn't improve, and the Mercedes behind trying to find a way through. That Mercedes, I think, is Armar Carr. It's the number 14. So, of course, for Carr, he's got a bit of a mountain to climb in the championship because he's still 55 points back from Franco Lopez. Of course, he did win last time out at the British Grand Prix, as Chung makes her way through the S's. And let's see what her middle sector is going to be like. And she, we're not sure, in fact, because Gal is now going to try and find a way through. So this is going to compromise her lap even further. And Gal isn't able to find a way through that time by. We're just over 2 minutes to go as they go around the section of corners. And now into the final turn and onto the pit straight will go Gal and Chung. And so heading down the pit straight then we will go, and Miklos Gal is going to cross the line, and neither of them improve as a result. So, Chung's coming back into the pit, so that's her done for the day. She ended up down in 16th, not ideal for Laura Chung, who for the last few races has actually scored points for Ferrari, so she'll be looking to see if she can continue that here at Hungary. Chung makes her way down towards the left-hander now then, as now she'll be heading back into the pits this lap with just over 1.5 minutes to go in this session, as we are going to ride on board with the drivers now for the remainder of this practice session. Car round the final turn and onto the pit straight will go the Brit now then, and across the line will go Armar Carr, and he does not improve. He's coming back into the pit, so his session is done for the day. Jamie Griffiths, no improvement for him. Here comes Joseph Willows. Across the line he goes in the McLaren, and he remains in P3. Lopez is done for the day. He comes back into the pits. Here comes George Roke, currently down in 12th position. See what the Racing Point can do, as he is now going to cross the line. Can he improve on his lap? And no, he can't. Lost time in the last sector. Roberto Gama not able to improve either. Gomez improves. He gets up into 17th position. So a slight improvement there for the Brazilian. Here comes Amelia Wilson with just under a minute to go. Comes around the final turn. Let's see what she's able to do in the manner. Across the line will go the American. And she doesn't improve. Remains in 22nd position. Lost time in that last sector. Here comes Andrea Verderi now then in the Alfa Romeo. Verderi currently down in 18th position as he makes his way through the final turn. And onto the pit straight now then will go Andrea Verderi as he will now make his way onto the pit straight. Across the line he will go and he remains in 18th. Franco Gamba stays in P1. Martinez doesn't improve. Looks like Q-Pop may have had an influence in that. Here comes Joseph Frederick Suto as he will now make his way towards the final turn. Around the final corner will go the Slovakian driver as he will make his way onto the pit straight, and Suto is going to cross the line. And does he improve? He doesn't, but Kirby behind does. He gets up into 13th as there's 8 seconds left. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh, Fraser
I think
just
he's made it.
Just got a lap in there, as you can just see. We're going to get slow-mo of that. But yes, he did just get a lap. There's the line. Look, he just passed it. So yeah, Fraser just does enough to do a lap, so he'll be the last one to cross the line then as the checkered flag comes out. Byrne didn't have enough time to do a lap. I think he was probably just gathering mileage for the Renault team as Griffiths now then just makes his way into the final corner. He's not going to be able to improve. Griffiths, who's down in 21st, stays in 21st for the main session. Willows remains in 3rd. Galloway didn't have enough time to do a lap. Here comes George Roke coming around the final turn. And onto the pit straight now, then we'll go the Brit as he makes his way onto the pit straight and across the line. We'll go George Roke. He's got one of the Ferraris behind him as well. He doesn't improve, and nor does Roberto Gamba. Gomez across the line. He improves to go up into 16. Gets above Chung. Not a great session for her down in 17. So this is now right on board with Gomez's teammate, Andrea Verderi, who's got the Red Bull of Franco Gamba right behind. So the Gamba Mafia close together. 2/3 of the Gamba Mafia. That's now through the second to last turn we go, as they will now make their way towards the final corner. Let's see if Verderi is still able to find some improvement. I don't think he will, because he is down on his death panel. Down the pit straight goes Verderi. Across the line he will go, and nope, remains in 18. Franco Gamba doesn't improve, nor does Q-Park. Evans Martinez across the line he will go in the manner. No improvement for him, as we now look at Kirby, who is up on his personal best right now, as he will now make his way towards the final corner, as it seems like it's frozen for me there. No, it was just a little bit of lag for me on Discord there. Back there as now Kirby comes down the pit straight, across the line, goes up into 11th, a big time for him there. Suto across the line, no improvement. Here comes Fraser, the last car to cross the line, comes around the final turn. Let's see what he can do on his final lap. Across the line will go Daniel Fraser, and he goes up to 14th, pushes Chung down to 18th, and that is practice done with then. So there you have it then. So it's Franco Gamba at the top with Miklos Gau in 2nd and Joseph Willows in 3rd. What did you make of that session overall, Ra?
Yeah, pretty interesting session. Yeah, surprisingly, none of the Mercs are in the top 3 from that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that is the practice done with. Obviously, we're going to go off the stream for a little bit, of course, so that we can sort out the qualifying stream. So, at the meantime, I've been JW97, he's been Ra, and we'll see you in just a little bit for the qualifying session. See you in a bit.